Good morning. Good morning, Mike. Good to see you there in Montana. Denise, good to see you this morning. We still have a couple people entering this morning. And so we talk for just a few minutes while we gather folks here at Encinitas Mindfulness in Encinitas, California. I'm Diana Shimkus. This is the beautiful community out there, as well as Libby and Little Man sitting here in the room with me. So we're everywhere. We have, I think, Leslie's on this morning from Israel. We have Siobhan coming on from North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, where there has been, of course, some very serious, already quickly forgotten, isn't it, a little too easily, except for the people who continue to suffer from lack of clean water and shelter and electricity. I mean, basics are still not available for everyone there. And so we keep those uh, brothers and sisters in mind. And then we do also, beyond that, holding them in heart, we do what we can to contribute. And so we have been really working. I really feel so proud of our community. We have been working so much more diligently. We have till the end of December, just so everyone knows, to make a contribution to one of the other two um, charities we have posted that EMC is committed to. One of them is Water for People. Um, and go read about that on the webpage through encinitasmindfulness.org. And the other is Action Against Hunger, something that Jim Sinclair had a very strong passion for, commitment to. And we have not made our end of year contributions to that yet. So know that you can still do that with a one-to-one match by us. So you're going to double the money and the donation. But that's just one possibility. The other possibilities then are to contribute something to this St. Andrew's food pantry. We went shopping yesterday and we spent $340. And no, excuse me, we spent $440. EMC, our treasurer, uh, Carrie, uh, had committed 300. Looking, she's the treasurer, looking at the monies. I tend not to look at the money. That's my way. I just try to see how much tuna is on the shelf and how many beans are available. And I assume that's probably the right number. If we can get them in the cart, from my point of view, that's the correct amount. I don't think about it from a numbers. Who could count that anyway? It's not possible. Even with my husband and Lisa's husband, Rich, with us, the organizers was, and so here's something that happened. We're going to talk about it some more on Saturday. But one of the things that happened is that while my husband and Rich were in line, taking out all of the tuna boxes and the chili boxes and the really, and being good organizers as they both are, uh, one person behind them in line said, "What are you doing?" And there was a little brief explanation about the food pantry here in Encinitas. And my husband said, "Would you like to go ahead? Because we're going to be here for a while, right? We've got a couple carts full of stuff." And the man said, "No, I'll just stand back here." And he watched him complete this. It takes about 15 minutes when it's all said and done just to ring this up. Yeah. And the man at the end gave my husband $20 and said, "I know this is a small contribution, but I hope it helps." And he was taken aback by that. Was sort of like trying to give it back to him, and he said, "No, really, I want to do this." And then a woman came from the other line and said, I'd like to give you $20 also towards this. And so it was so, and I didn't see it at all. I just heard about it later. But I could see in my husband some known sense about the reality of goodness and how it simply grows and expands. Whether you contribute in that way or you don't, what is the truth? The truth is that there is a lightheartedness, a warm-heartedness, a sense of ease. Like, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay if there are people in the world caring about other people, and in whatever way then you do it. And so this is the whole point, really, for me, of our Sangha, is that we take good care of ourselves, really, such good care of ourselves, so that we are available and warm-hearted and open and available to be there in the way that is needed in this world for ourselves, our loved ones, and then others. And so thank you all for that. It is because of your contributions, in fact, that is even possible. And I'm going to ask for $100 more because we overspent. So if anybody feels like they have $20 in there, or you haven't contributed yet in a way that you would like to, just know I'll put that in chat. This is not a demand. This is not, if you don't, you've done it wrong at all. This is simply one of infinite opportunities, one of infinite opportunities. For those of you who didn't contribute to St. Andrews, well, you contributed jackets and clothing and some sweaters and some socks and uh, all kinds of things to our this Thursday's Philabelly, which is several people, Lynn and Janine and Jim and Carrie and I, and some. Thank you so much. I just saw some people giving to that. Um, we're going to be serving 60 or over people, uh, most of them unsheltered, uh, and offering a hot meal to them this Thursday. This is not our EMC Thursday, however. Our EMC Thursday will be on January 9th. We still need some entrees. We still need some side dishes. We still need some waters, some sport drinks, some desserts. So if you are interested, please put your name to me in the chat along with an item, and then I will confirm that with you. And several people can even drop off a thing. Kathleen is one. She can drop off something. She can't stay because of another commitment. So we will also need some servers. And then in addition to that, on our Philabelly Day, we will be offering service and connection, community. Maybe most important nutriment of all. Thank you, Robin.
So what are you missing again? I'm sorry. And then you need servers or you have them? I
We
mean,
need servers. We do not have them. We have people bringing things. We still need entrees. We still need, I think we still need everything, actually. I don't think we're completed because we're serving a large group. We assume that each person, if they're bringing an item, can bring about for 15 people, which is probably a double of something.
okay.
Think of it that way. I am making turkey chili. I just had Robin. I just saw that saying she would also bring some kind of hot entree. Um,
And what is the time on Thursday, please?
Those Thursdays go technically. They ask us to volunteers to arrive by 6:15. We try to get there around 6, and then we serve from 6:30 to 7:30, and then we assist in some cleanup, getting tables put away, some chairs put away. And that takes about 15 minutes. We're
And
kind
is
of
that in the morning or the night?
evening. It's dinner.
Oh, oh, I can join
Yeah,
whatever
that's
you need. Sorry,
yeah.
I just didn't know the whole.
Yeah, I don't know that we frequently have time to talk about it, which is why I thought today would be a good day.
I also sent an email on Sunday for Philabelli. There's
Yes,
a
I
long
did. I
email.
sent that to everyone.
Yeah.
So everyone here got that. Whether you had planned to contribute or you didn't, you should have received a fairly detailed uh, uh, thing from Phil Bell that they wrote up on what's expected and how we participate. And thank you, Kelly. Oh, there's that. Kelly's bringing that corn casserole that she has contributed another time. And that I heard about that corn casserole from the community, uh, which is, there was this corn casserole. It was so great. And Kelly, I think the funny side of that story that nobody knows, Kelly happened to have told it to me, is that she won a cook-off kind of um, with that corn casserole and beat some other pretty fancy dishes. And so I think that's a little suggestion about what people really need. I'm not sure that, we really need uh, the fancy stuff. I don't know if amuse bouche is the requirement uh, for our friends. I think probably, a good corn casserole, some cornbread, uh, something hearty, filling, comforting. Uh, I think these matter. Uh, okay, Libby's got that down. Corn muffins. So I think this is just our rich opportunity, our privilege, really, isn't it? Our privilege to be able to make a contribution. I have an entire foyer, just so you all know, filled with bags of clothing. That we're going to be contributing. Lynn has already dropped off an entire uh, car full of clothing. Rand is going, I don't know who you people are or where you came from, but we are very, very happy that you're here. And this is the what I really want to see. Thank you, Adrian. This is what I want to see Encinitas Mindfulness be. I want the community to know us. I want them to know that we're here and that we're contributors to the good. So thank you all for that. We're going to sit now. Thank you all for those contributions. I've got those, and I'll take another look before I sign off. Thank you. We're going to sit now for 15 minutes, but I want to talk and then silently and then go into our practice. This practice of luminosity, we're going to be talking more on Saturday about what differentiates. Pete asked a really essential question on Saturday. What's the difference between mindfulness and luminosity? And we're going to go through a little bit of a step by step. This distinguishes it from this. I gave a fairly generic, maybe too conceptual answer. I didn't like it myself. I really want to break it down so that people know uh, those distinctions and their interconnectedness and their interbeing and their non-separation, right? They're not separate from each other. They're just some unique elements in one and the other that I think would be worthy of discussion. So we'll be doing that on Saturday here in the garden. Was a little chilly last Saturday, so just make sure to dress warm. I think we're going to try to get one or two heaters down here just to make sure everyone's okay. And I just got a new recipe for Mexican wedding cookies. I always, I am so, what a Jewish mother I am. I will bribe, I will cajole, anything I can to come over, have a bite, nosh a bit. Um, that's not even actually my heritage. I just do it so well. My mother grew up in a Jewish neighborhood, by the way. That's how I mistook oy vey for being Yiddish. And that's a true story. I actually thought it, it was an Italian phrase. I went to college with somebody saying, no, that's not it at all. I went, no, it must be. My mother says it all the time. She's Italian. No, not at all. She also said, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, you're driving me nuts. So, right, this is probably one of the reasons I'm so good at being able to open to all the traditions, right? In the end, isn't it true? We're all the same. So we're going to sit silently, then move into a little luminosity practice. And so remembering that in our open spaciousness practice, the one we're working on now, we include the body. We are aware of the body, but we are not using the body as an object on purpose more than its natural brilliant appearance might arise and pass for you. So the body just becomes one of the infinite and is included. There was a little confusion for someone who thought they had to kind of stay away from the body. Well, it's not accurate at all. We include it, but we don't settle into the body as anything solid. Remember, we're looking at everything as these bright, brilliant fireworks, these appearances, everything in its flow, and space, including then the body, eyes open or closed. Then you see there really is no need to kind of shut anything out, right? At all. You're just being here. And in the being here, we begin to look at everything in its momentary, yet ever changing, and then interconnected, interdependent reality. That dependence includes you and your consciousness. Could not be known, could not be seen, recognized, held, embraced, welcomed, and understood without the consciousness of you. And so we're just noticing this essential reality in everything, including this computer that looks particularly solid in its metalness and the stand. And can I, even as I am flashing on the eye door of this object, can I recognize its ever changing reality? And then we can turn the eye when you're ready, the mind's eye towards the self, and we're going to rest here, noticing the ever changing reality of self, nothing solid, nothing fixed, not a thought, not a feeling, not a sensation, not an emotion. We're going to rest here and for several minutes, and then I'll go. regarding nothing as solid, nothing as fixed, nothing as permanent, nothing as mine or me or I, everything like a dream, a dewdrop, a thunderbolt, a candle flame, a phantom, a wisp of wind, a brilliant appearance. Regard all phenomena, all thoughts, all sensations, all emotions or moods or feelings or beliefs, all sense of self, all sense of other, like this. Ungraspable, spacious, open, luminous, reflective, receptive, birthless, ageless, timeless, form and formless, colorless, undying, like the warmth and the brilliance of the sun, radiant, illuminating everything. Effortless, always already present here. Our true nature. Feeling the ease of the non solidity, non resistance, non reactivity, no struggle, nothing solid to obstruct. Luminosity casts no shadow. And then abiding the experience, feeling the non friction, the ease, non separation, not me, not you, the interbeing interconnectedness of it all. And then turning that luminosity towards the body for a moment, the sense of the body. Remember, no one body, no one place, really. And just feeling the available sensations arising and passing, felt sense, whatever that is, whether it's on the gross level as a sensation or maybe more vibrational, energetic, connecting with the subtle body, the very subtle body, which is very much more vaporous in experience. And then seeing before we open our eyes, if you notice where this sense of self resides, where it has grafted itself, where it has taken claim in a way that is a part of the illusion. Is it a part you like, a part you don't like? Is it some quality or characteristic? And what would it mean if we simply allowed it to come and go? What would ultimately remain? And this was a part of our conversation on Saturday. Nothing then but luminous love. Everything apart, complete, and whole. Nothing solid. And then checking in with the body, seeing what you need, offering yourself any gentle movements, inviting motion, movement. Activating body, mind. And so then we can begin to include um, from that abiding our experience, we can begin to gain insight and then invite inquiry. Like, what was that gripping what? What was that? Since there is no, real self, what was the wind? The wind of what? Grabbing the wind of what? And then we can smile a lot more. There's a much greater lightheartedness, isn't there? Even a kind of humor is essential because you go, I don't know how I managed to do this over and over. But it is that arising, um, grasping, clinging, ego making, momentary as well. Not more solid, not more fixed, not more permanent at all, not more me, actually at all. But a momentary arising we mistake again and again for who we are. Right? And when we do it, what we know for sure is the suffering, the obscuration, the dark night that becomes a perceived experience, the loss of the luminosity, light, ease, appearance in its appearance, but always really right here. So we're going to look at that some more today. Any thoughts or observations, anything to say about that practice?
I notice the bigger you can make yourself, the less painful the other things are, whether that's a body sensation or a thought. It becomes, right, because larger becomes, that one thing becomes so much smaller than when we shrink down to the one sensation or the one thought. Just is like, again, it just feels like you're just this giant thing, and this is now tiny. It's not so big than when you're shrunken around it.
Yeah. Could anybody hear Libby? Okay. So what she really said is that as she recognized her own spaciousness and was able to rest in that, all the objects became so much less cathected, is a word we use, self-claimed, a problem, such a big deal, says Pema. Really, as we rest in the truth of our true nature, that luminosity, which includes vast, unlimited, boundless space, all the arising, even a difficulty, a itch, a tingle, a tightness, really is held in a very different, what relationship is very different. Right. There's old, Mike knows this, that old metaphor of pour a teaspoon of salt in a thimble and, it will overwhelm. It'll be, right. It just becomes so salty and untolerable. And pour, that same thimble of salt in an ocean and it becomes really nothing, the nothingness of its more true nature. Right. So she said, "Oh, I'm noticing I don't get so fixated. I don't get so stuck. I don't get so locked up. I don't name it as me, my leg, my knee, my, uh, you know, whatever the my mean, I
Yeah.
that we're doing." Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. For me, it was like spiraling out, like sparkles, like it was just kept on illuminating and sparkling and kind of evaporating, and then, phew, and it
Yep.
was,
Yes. It is sparkly, actually. There is a vibrational sense of that expansion, isn't there? Really, it's active. It is not passive. It is not deadened, right? It is very alive. And I think that's what you were making real contact with and only expanding. Spiral is one of the ways it can often be understood as the energy only growing like love, really, like that example at Dollar Tree, really just grow like alive and growing itself with no other possibility, really. And what do you and I both know? There was everyone in that line was benefited, weren't they? Everyone in that Dollar Tree store was benefited. Then everyone in the whole event Sanitas benefited. And then everyone in the whole right, blah, 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 spiraling. We know this and we forget for a brief moment. And even in the forgetting, right? There is infinite possibility still here, still a part of the luminosity. This is the part we're struggling with, isn't it? That even in this sense of darkness, we'll say, or pain, or fear, or the forgetting, we believe somehow we have separated from this. Never, ever possible.
mm,
Not slightly, not even slightly possible. You've just gone like this. It's just a habit. And even this is luminous because you can go, there I am, really, lovingly, laughingly, joyfully, right? You ever see those babies in the airplane? I run into these babies all the time, right? So they look through the, and then they look again, and then they hide back, right? This is us, folks. We're just, this is just us playing the game. Just peekaboo. Right there, there. Then I left. Then see, now you can't see me, but here I am. But then, right, and we mistake it as something real, don't we? We simply mistake it, and it really is laughable. It really. I was talking with Pete yesterday. I was going, you just couldn't stop laughing at the games we play. You know, the games we're playing, and what becomes somewhat less funny for a moment is the suffering.
yeah.
It's harder to laugh at because we recognize this is where compassion then takes over. The compassionate presence to go, wow, if we could just stop knocking ourselves in the head so much, uh, we would spend more time in that joyful luminosity. Then, even when fear is arising, even then, when depressive thoughts are arising, you would just see them as brief formations. The clouds in the sky, you would never mistake it as you. You couldn't, because if you can see it, what, right? There's something already separated. If you can see the thought, you are no longer it, right? And then
So,
we get caught.
so, so
Yeah.
how does luminosity relate to Rigpa? I've understood that Rigpa is a little bit higher level of, consciousness or understanding the true nature of reality or non-reality.
Yeah, Rigpa is an um, Rigpa is a stateless quality of luminosity. I would say
You get
stateless,
no
Yeah.
no obscurations anymore. It
None.
doesn't, you don't kind of see them pop
No,
up.
I don't. I think the idea is like enlightenment, which there is nothing obscured. It doesn't mean fear isn't arising either.
Right, right.
We're just never caught. And luminosity is the tool that we're using for that stateless right of Rigpa. But luminosity is uh, uh, right. We see it, we don't see it, we have it, and then we don't have it for a minute. Right. And it's a tool. We're cultivating that tool. But Rigpa is no longer, there's no tool in it. It is a quality of being. There is nothing obscured, everything held completely, everything luminous. There's no possibility for the shadow in us at all. But luminosity is required, essential towards that. Greg, I see you. Something you want to add?
Yeah. Just sort of sharing something here that's been part of an insight, and I'll get to my question here in a second. So the insight was this feeling of being completely alone in a way, and alone meaning that I kind of know myself, but others really don't. And it wasn't a feeling of depression or like I'm not connected or whatever, because I do feel that all the time. I feel this inner being. And it's kind of, it was actually a good feeling in a way that no one really knows me, and yet everybody does. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I'm still working with it actually. Nobody knows me. Even my best friends don't know me. And what is this that they don't know? You know, who is this that they don't know? And so getting back to my question, with luminosity, is luminosity sort of opening there in a way that it's kind of accepting this relative self and how it's connected with the absolute? Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yes, there is no distinction in luminosity between the relative and the absolute or universal.
And it's okay. It's
Yeah.
a feeling of okayness,
Basic okayness, as Zonka said.
okayness.
Yeah, with it all,
And-
including putting on your pants, you know.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I think both things are true, Greg, which is nobody knows that unique constellation of Greg in this moment. And everybody knows it because everybody knows that in me,
Right.
that this is an appearance. And that I can't know it unless, as Mike is saying, I am in true Rigpa, in which case I am simply mirror-like, as well as, but I don't mean subject-object mirror-like, but I do know you because I know that in me. I know that my goodness, I know that my love, I know that my joyful, peaceful, playful nature is not always in its clearest reflection for others, let's say. Based on what, though? What would keep that from being known? Their obscure, right? The momentariness of that cloud in them. And our job is simply to make sure we're managing our clouds, so somebody might say. Right, that's that
Right.
we recognize our own brief, remember, never permanent, never fixed, never real obscuration. Fear mostly, right? The thing that keeps me from saying I love you to everyone always.
Right. And this relative self, which is, true. I mean, that's part of this.
Real life.
Right. Yeah. And yet, it's an illusion, a complete illusion.
Yeah.
And
It's not permanent, it's a loose.
it's not permanent, and that's kind of where I was going with it, was that it's not permanent. So when I die, that's going to be gone forever. There may be
That relative,
yeah, and my
that-
actions, of course, will still carry on
Yeah.
somehow, right?
the energetic reality of Greg doesn't die.
No, but the relative self, of course, is
You know,
gone.
the skin
Yeah.
transforms into something else. That actually, you know, depending on how particles you want to get,
Yeah,
right? Uh, doesn't die. It's always energy is always energy,
yeah,
right? In its nature, cannot be otherwise. And form is ever changing, ever, right? And again, what does that really mean? That means, can I just be here, luminous, unobscured, unobstructed in my love, joy, compassion, and wisdom?
hmm
And we know that every tiny thought contributes either to that opening, widening, spiraling, sparkling, as Dennis is saying, or may contribute to the obscuration. And we call that being of benefit towards contributing to suffering. One of these, right? If everything arising in its constellation we can use towards the benefit and towards the good, including things like depressed thoughts, because recognizing a depressed thought merely as a depressed thought is genius, isn't it? It's genius. It's luminous. It's ha ha, ha ha. You do nothing but laugh at it. What else could you do? It's like the appearance of a clown. You just go, funny, funny, funny nose, funny makeup, funny, like you couldn't mistake it, because then you would mistake no thought, not any thought, not even including the loving one. Isn't this crazy? You wouldn't even mistake that as love. You would understand it as simply a momentary appearance. Because insights, what, Greg? Insights alone are completely insufficient without then transmuting us, without them becoming something. What? Greater love, greater kindness, greater compassion, becoming virtue, would say the Christian tradition, right? Insight alone, I can point to all the pigs at the party, but it does nothing until I what? Form right relationship. This is the Eightfold Path. Recognize its appearance, not mistake it for the person, the right. And where do we begin? Right here, because we're doing it constantly to ourselves. Me, the depressed one.
Yeah.
Right? Me, the generous one. Right? My husband was so uncomfortable when people were giving him the money, like he's trying to give it back. Literally, like, no, no. I'm like, wait, this is not about you.
Yeah, right.
This is not about you. Take the money. Don't try to give it back to people. This is goodness happening.
Just one more thing. So Dick Van Dyke is, I think he's 99 today, or maybe it was
I
yesterday.
think that's right.
And I was watching this video of him, and somebody asked him, "What is love?" And he said that love is caring for others as you care for yourself, which I thought was just really such a brilliant clarity there of what love really is.
And then in luminosity, one would say love is everything. Love is everything. Love then is also the moment of contractedness recognized, right? The moment of self-cherishing, seen, held, and understood, rather than rejected, rather than pushed away, rather than, right? And yes, in the Tibetan tradition as well, what do they say? The exchange of self and other, or that understanding that we are not separate at all. That we are not separate at all is enlightenment. Right. What else about this? We have struggled with this idea of luminosity as being a characteristic, having certain parts. It is understood to be stateless. You heard me name its non-characteristics. Stateless, nameless, colorless, signless, ageless, deathless, boundaryless, borderless, no color, no form. This is the nature of luminosity. It does not take on the characteristic, does it? But it knows, abides, and experiences completely. But does not take it on. It does not become the fear, does it? Right? Recognizing a depressed thought will make it very simple. Does not make you depressed. Actually, we know for sure it is the path to the end of it. Recognizing it simply as an object, not as self, not as me, not as mine, not as permanent, not as fixed, not as essential truth. We call that cognitive behavioral therapy, folks. The Buddha, the best psychologist in town. Right? Yes, Felicia.
Hi. I have had trouble when you were going through like the not feeling the body kind of, I don't know.
There's no not feeling the body. There's not claiming the feeling as mine. There's
Yeah,
no not
that's what I had trouble with. So I was like, I could kind of get away from everything else, but I always like when I meditate, I kind of try to go to the heart to feel the body to meditate. So like I was trying to get that feeling kind of like away because that is like the me kind of, you know what I mean? So I
That's
was
your
like,
idea
how do
of
I
you.
get rid of that?
No, that's your idea of you. That's not you. That's a mere appearance or an arising of experience, real in its appearance. There it is, itchy like this, hot like this, right? Open like this, spacious like this. But be careful the me-ing. This is simply the quality of being human and alive in this moment. Nothing about it is yours, just yours. And arising like this, appearing like this. You don't have to get rid of anything. You don't have to get out of your body. You just don't want to mistake it as you.
Okay.
And ask Greg if that's not going to be pretty handy. Because otherwise, you're birthing and deathing every moment. You're dying over and over and over as you claim this body based on aging, illness, and the reality of death. Because then I like it and then I don't like it, and I don't like it and I leave it and I try to get out of it and I try to go somewhere else. It isn't that they're not strategies for management of things like pain. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this larger overarching self-making, which is always the Buddha says, the path to suffering is this. Simply. Not greed, not hatred, not delusion. Those are just obstructions. But the claiming of it, this is solid, this is right, this is me, this is you different than me, is the path to certain suffering. And hang out in the body a while and see if it isn't so. Because there'll be things we like about it, and boy, there'll be a whole bunch of things we don't like about it. But abiding experience is always useful, Felicia. If you can just know the qualities of the body arising and passing, this is beautiful. Right? And then you'll notice ease and calm and itchy and tight and right, pained and released, right? And just going la, la, la. Well, I'm just riding the wave of continuing experience coming and going, but never mistaking it as me. Ever. This is where all problems, again, according to the Buddha, begin. Because that's solidifying now. Now I'm in pain. Now I'm depressed. Now I'm worthless. Now I'm fabulous. Now because watch that, right? All of this arrogant others in me, right? Ugh, you got it going on, girl. Ugh. Right? Caught perfect path to suffering. Why? Because then in the next moment, I noticed it wasn't so perfect. By the way, that's perfect, isn't it? The very catching the wind of it. Oh, there's arrogance coming and going. There's self-devaluing coming and going. There's, right? And it all becomes, in the Dzogchen, we say, a brilliant firework. Then it just all gets joy. You can't not just be in joy to go, oh, just me and others, just like this. And then I don't mistake you in your moment of anger, in your moment of irritability, in your moment of aggression, in your moment of hatred, in your moment of sullenness. I don't mistake you because now I haven't mistaken me as this. And now self and other, no distinction. Here we all are in our bubbling, vaporous, hearing and going, and it's the winds. Without getting caught. And then so then we can respond to everything like this. We can fully arrive then completely because we're no longer in fear or grip. I've got to hang on to this. I got to get rid of this, right? We're always trying to navigate the clouds in a way that's just not possible. And the more you try, the more you suffer. It's true. So I hope that helps in some way. There is no really thinking this through, Felicia, I would say also. There is the experiencing of. And so you just feel that warmth in your heart. And you know that that is luminosity itself. But it's not a sensation. It's a state of being. And it may come with a sensation for a moment. But by the way, one of my mistakes is to believe when I am in pleasantness, this is the path to enlightenment. It is so wrong. It was every other moment. That was actually my teacher, not the calm, pleasant, easeful, like la, la, la ones. They were pleasant though. But it was in the stuck, in the mud, in the swamp, in the hating, in the anger, in the why me, why now moments that I was truly, those are really the moments when we can stay with ourselves, right? There, when we can be with ourselves there, completely abiding the experience and smiling a lot, right? We smile.
I have sorry, but I took your class. I mean, literally, I think it was 20 years ago. Remember at the Cancer Center on Garden View about kind of like getting into our body to feel things. We did the whole body scan or whatever.
That's right.
But there was a gal there. So I tried to put these two together, and I don't know. I was thinking about this. I don't know why the other night. So I didn't know it was appropriate to ask now, but it kind of just hit me again. So there was a gal there who had been from a Middle Eastern country. I can't remember where, and she had been. And sorry to get dark here, but she had been gang raped or something, and
Yes.
by the other anyway. And she said she had that outer body experience to kind of get through it. So is that like you're saying to stay with it, or is that like an okay reaction if in the event of something like horrific or traumatic like that? You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Anything you could do to be alive and to be okay in that moment would be right, wouldn't it?
I would think so, but I'm
I
trying
wouldn't
to like
care what it was. I don't know what it might be. That is just the brainstem, really in its survival mechanism that we call that dissociation, right? I better get out of here so that I don't have to bear this pain.
so that's a skilled response. Is okay to just like
I would say more automatic, not usually invited. Could you invite it also? I suppose it would be true that you could say, get me out of here. It's more often brainstem than neocortical response. what would be more like from intentioned is, I will not make this moment me.
Is it an altered state, like free falling from 3 stories down and going into an altered state?
Is it altered?
Altered state.
I don't know what altered means. It's a quality of mind, certainly. And don't you know it too, that spaced out moment where actually you're in the car nowhere, but in a daydream? Is it altered? Uh, it's an arising state. I don't know, what altered truly means there. And we're all doing it, sometimes in larger, sometimes in smaller ways. And in that one, and by the way, I think often as a habit can become habitual, where we space out, when we do this with little kids, right, like pointing to what, like they're just in another realm, in the beautiful daydream, or in the sky, or so completely in the tree. I don't even know if it's spaced out. They're just somewhere. And then you say, can you tell us where your toes are? And you can see them having to kind of reorient it all, like toes. Yeah, their toes. Where are those? What are those? And we're all doing it, aren't we? We're all doing it. So is that skillful? Well, I think anything that contributes to the end of harm is skillful.
Can I add
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
So for many, many years in my relationship, I felt like I could, if I recognized what was going on in the other person, or felt like I did, because of course I can't, that I could forgive and be in that presence. And the problem was that I wasn't setting boundaries, right? So I was accepting their misbehavior, if you will, or
Harm, we
abuse.
could say harm. Harm
Yeah,
to
harmful
another.
behavior towards me,
Them.
perceiving that I could not, that I could live without boundaries, kind of.
Yeah.
And learning my boundaries and recognizing that what I needed to do was actually somehow bring it in to a conscious mind and decide if it was safe. And that was a really, really hard thing for me to figure out.
Yeah, that's what do I want to say about this, Robin, for you? I would say that when we don't have enough self to regard the self, we will cause harm to self and other, because then we will allow harm, won't we?
Yeah,
That
100%.
this relative world that is not good for anyone. It wasn't just bad for you, or painful for you, or harming for you. It was for the other as well. And our compassionate and loving response is to say, knock it off, but without aggression, with understanding, right? With insight, with, I know what's happening here because I know about this thing in me, but you didn't know about this thing in you,
Right.
because you hadn't allowed that to happen. You just went, no, not this. I should just be loving and forgiving. But that's not the way to it, is it? It's not the path to being loving. And it's to say, oh, I understand this. I know how anger happens. I know how aggression occurs, because I know something about it in my own mind, body, and heart. And I know it comes from pain, fear, and suffering. And then in the benefit of all beings, then we say we can't do it like this. And you get yourself at the minimum, right? Would be you get yourself out of the way if you can't contribute in some other way to the other. You are already contributing to their karmic debt at the minimum, right?
Yeah.
Out of the way of that bullet, so that you don't have to suffer its consequence. This is skill, right? It's
And
skill.
yeah, now I can be calmly in the presence of this person, kind of just recognizing what his behavior does to me, and
Yes.
say, I've got to go. We're
Yes.
done. I'm walking away. I can use all those boundaries for myself. But it
Yeah.
took a while.
I love you. Goodbye for now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Which is what
Mhm.
that really is. I'm going to protect you and I. How wonderful is that?
Would
And
you
then how
say,
other people see it, I don't often not quite that, not quite loving, but who has to, our luminosity is the one that, right? Our knowing this is better,
Right.
our understanding that this is only offered as benefit to us both. And then the opinion, the view, the brief obscuration of the other isn't, you understand that or you don't understand that. And it's okay. You can hold that too. You can
Yeah.
hold the other even in that.
I know a lot about this subject that you're talking about, Robin, and it, the kind of the balance is for me is the reactivity, finding where where I'm being reactive, and then coming back to kind of my breath and kind of trying to balance with it, and then finding at times, it's just I'm just being reactive, and it's not really a boundary that's being broken. And then at other times when there is a boundary, and really sort of calming myself down with the reactivity and stating what my boundary is. And it's a hard balance there
It is.
for me.
But
I mean, that's what I have, and I still deal with it. I mean, that's probably where my practice is right now, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
the reactivity.
Yeah,
It's like,
and then the compassion. It's all sort of in there. Compassion for myself, compassion for the other, knowing what the boundary is, and
Yeah.
you know,
What's the definition of a boundary? The extent to which I can bear this present moment.
oh, perfect.
that's a
Isn't
good way.
the extent to which I can be present to this. And then when I can't, to be acknowledging, accepting, regarding of that.
Mm.
Wouldn't it?
I
And then
would say,
get myself clearly to what we call then that solid ground, that place for a moment, that refuge, which may be taking a step back, maybe creating more space, doing what one would need to do to get oneself back into abiding and being present to oneself.
right.
I just I've been trying to setting the boundaries with my brother and I. We get into that reactive mode, and we feed each other, and it blows up. And I also think a boundary, at least in that situation and many others, I feel is setting the because if I just say, you know what, I'm gonna table this right now. I can't do it, and I'm not going there. It makes the next moment for me and everybody else involved a better situation, it seems like. A more peaceful situation, because then we don't all go there and then all have to feel bad and all have to, whatever the case is, I find that really helpful.
If you are peaceful, you are offering it to others. It's true. If you are loving, you are offering it to others. And then there is no, again, distinction. It will only be a benefit to everyone. And you have to know you, right? Am I getting caught up? Am I getting reactive? And in luminosity, we see this as brilliant appearance. We do not define it even as my limit. It's just a momentary limit. Sometimes we can be completely there in the greatest moments of aggression. And other times the mere blaming look, right, can be that trick. And that really is more about us, isn't it? In our temporary state than it is about the other and what they're doing or it's really more about what I'm capable of holding in this moment And usually because I am some distance from myself, by the way. It isn't the other inflicting, it is me having already separated from my own true nature in some way. Remember, not real and true. It isn't that it's really, it's just that in this appearance, I'm disconnected, I'm distracted, the mind is elsewhere, I'm thinking about tasking, not about what is most caring, I'm not in the present moment, I'm in my lists, right? We know the ways we get off, don't we? We all do. And we're doing it. But it's just a momentary, can we see it that we're doing it? And now home, now whole, now everything complete. Walk away or hang up on the other person. I always try to offer, if you're going to have to step away, if you could simply offer the in care of us both, right? To the benefit of us both, because I care, right? I'm
Very
going,
helpful.
right? To frame it in a heart's intention in any case, to the extent that we can. In couples work, I try to offer or invite the 3-heart tap to say, it is not because I am abandoning you. It is not because I do not love you. It is because I myself am in need of gathering myself back to myself. And we talk about what that 3 tap is before we move, right? So it doesn't look like distance, disconnect, separation, and abandonment. How do you communicate that? How do you communicate that? That's the lovely thought for this week's practice, as we're now being with family where we may become triggered or we may get activated. But remember, just don't mistake it as them, the triggerers, or you, the triggeree, but rather a confluence of, well, this is interesting, right? You just said, you've been stupid about this forever and you're still stupid about it today. Right? And I solidify everything about me and you now, and I'm going, you're an idiot because I can't believe you just said that. And now we're off, really completely disconnected from the greater realities. We're caught in these little, right? And there's
Yeah.
nothing like siblings for
Well,
helping us.
I have this quote from Goethe, Goethe.
Yes.
Treat people, and I've always had this available so I can look at it. Treat people as if they were what they ought to be, and you help to become what they are capable of being.
And yourself. And yourself, right? And it's beautiful. Beautiful. This life, precious, right? Beautiful, amazing life in all of its form. And that includes confusion and greed and hatred and aggression. If we cannot see it clearly for what it is, we will be lost, all of us. And can we love this too? And the answer is yes, we can. And begin with yourself. All right, we're going to do our daily prayer, remembering this for ourselves and others. And so just gathering the heart mind, remember always here. And just resting back in open space, igniting the bodhicitta, the awakened heart mind, the one that knows the truth of all of this. Gifted this precious human life to be a benefit to oneself, to loved ones, to those we like, to those we don't, and all beings. And we offer this aspiration as a reminder, as the path. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge, for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are free from sorrow and all are awakened. May this practice, this very day, contribute, and may it continue. So be it. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
those amazing contributions. I'm so grateful to be a part of this Sangha. Thank you all. We'll have meet our Greg's on Thursday. We will be back in the garden on Saturday for step-to-step instructions on luminosity. If only the Buddha could see this, wouldn't he laugh? And then Sunday, just to remind everybody about our Sunday, we have a Sunday 7:30 to 8 o'clock with Gia and Jessica. I think primarily going to be doing this for a time, though we've had Denise in the mornings as well. And I think there's been a nice little group.
Lovely.
Yay, wonderful, Robin. Thank you for that feedback. That's spectacular. I'm so happy to hear that. And I think
Fabulous. Yeah, I agree. It's
great. It's wonderful. They're wonderful. It will only grow and grow. And so let's keep doing that together. Blessings to everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you on Thursday, Saturday or Sunday, hopefully all of them. Be well, everyone.
Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.
Mike, good to see you. Hugs to Robin. Bye-bye, everyone.
Mike's Robin. I can't get off. Bye, Dennis.
Bye-bye, Robin. Take care. A wonderful day, Robin. Keep
You
bouncing.
too.
Keep bouncing.
You too.
Okay.